Day members and guests, thank you for joining us today for our November membership and annual election meeting. I would like to officially call our meeting to order. It's so good to see so many of our members joining us today. I know many of us are excited to hear election results. But first on our agenda, I would like to call on Ed Untalan, our Vice Chairman, for a few announcements. Ed?
Thank you, Christine. Good afternoon, everyone. I have two announcements regarding upcoming virtual meetings that we have planned. The first is the AFC General Membership Meeting. Your Armed Forces Committee is having its fourth quarter General Membership Meeting virtually tomorrow, Thursday, November 18th at 8:30 a.m. The meeting will feature Colonel Christopher Bopp, Commanding Officer, Marine Corps Base Camp Blas. Members interested in receiving a link for this virtual event are asked to contact your chamber office. Note that this meeting is not open for media purposes. The second virtual meeting centers around the 2022 economic forecast. Guam's economy has been devastated by the global COVID-19 pandemic, which has drastically impacted visitor arrivals. It has already begun to impact consumer spending, Asian and US private investment, our supply chain, and geopolitical factors beyond our borders, among our other factors. What will be the key economic issues that influence the growth and development of Guam and our regional economies in the upcoming year? Join us virtually on Friday, December 3rd, 8:30 a.m., as we hear from experts in the various industries such as tourism, real estate, construction, and more. You can find more information about these events and more by reading the Chamber's weekly newsletters or contacting the Chamber office. Thank you.
The UOG Endowment Foundation, in preparation of our 40th anniversary, is asking for your support during our annual G is for Giving campaign. The foundation was established in 1982 with the sole purpose of aligning supporters as yourselves with opportunities to donate towards scholarships and the various university programs. Last year, the U.S. News and World Report placed UOG at number 90 overall, comparing it to more than 1,400 four-year higher learning institutions in the Western region. And that's not all. It was number 46 among public institutions and 40 as top performer in social mobility. What a feat from an institution that will be celebrating its 70th anniversary next year. Today, more than 50% of UOG's student population is eligible for financial aid. Through 2020 and 2021, the endowment awarded over $74,000 in scholarships, and together with the university, raised over $70,000 to benefit first responders in COVID-19 pandemic relief and community outreach programs. After mastering skills at the University of Guam, students that come from your family and the families of your employees go out into the world, into our community, into your businesses, and make a difference. The endowment is proud to help these students reach their goals. When you help transform a Triton, you help transform the world. But we can't do this without supporters like the Guam Chamber of Commerce and you, its members of our business community. To find out how you can help, please contact us at 671-735-2957, email info@uogendowment.org, or visit us at give.uog.edu. Thank you for your support.
Good morning. Welcome to our annual membership meeting. Thank you for joining us in front of your computer, your tablet, or your phone. We appreciate that you have carved out time to listen and view this year's annual report to the membership. Well, 2021, the year that we hoped would get us up and away from the devastation of the COVID-19 pandemic, did not come to pass. Instead, we witnessed incalculable loss of life globally and right here at home. We watched as countries kept their borders closed and do their best to keep the COVID variants from getting out of control before vaccines could be available to the populace. We saw demand for supplies increase and supply chains struggle to keep up with these demands. We witnessed a little frustration when products we once took for granted, like milk, fruit, and vegetables at the grocery store, or even baby wipes and our favorite personal hygiene items, were not available on the shelves. We saw hotels and restaurants hire back staff and let them go again when our island went back into lockdown earlier this year. We scrambled to get employees and workplace protocols in place as public health guidance modified and adjusted with each change and update in the executive order. We saw our source markets and the contiguous 48 promote domestic tourism and wonder when we would get a little break and see flights and tourists back on our Guam shores. It has been rough, but that didn't keep us from continuing in the work of recovery. In the face of these significant changes, you, our private sector, have rolled with the punches. You continue to keep the lights on, employees on payroll, many times against the odds. You rallied to support each other and the entire community, even when you were hurting. You have shared your stories, your frustration, your joys, and significant milestones with us at the Chamber. And we stand alongside you as your partner, your confidant, and your staunchest supporter. Without you, there would be less resources to power our economy. Like you, we are truly grateful for a nation that supported our island with the largest federal aid the United States has ever seen. That kept businesses afloat and helped our residents persevere through this pandemic. As we ready to end the chapter on 2021 and look ahead, we are resolved and optimistic because the world is buzzing with opportunities, and we have been working hard to build bridges and partnerships to reignite economic growth for our island. It is imperative that these partnerships with our local and federal governments and with our Asian allies grow and develop, as the pandemic has spurred unprecedented innovation that could fuel and drive new and potentially prosperous industries for our island and our region. We won't ever go back to our pre-pandemic world, but we have the potential, if we work together, to realize new and improved possibilities. Your chamber, led by Chairwoman Christine Valetu and a 20-member board, has also been resilient. It has been an unprecedented year for the Chamber to elect a chairperson 2 years in a row, but it has been 2 unprecedented pandemic years. Chairwoman Christine rose above and beyond the normal duties of Chamber Chair with the support of the board because it was the right thing to do in these challenging months. She and our board directors bustled with energy and active engagement with our government leaders to go to bat for our struggling private sector. It has not always been easy and continues to be challenging, but we proceed because we know that striving to keep the economy afloat is imperative, not only for our companies, but especially for the residents of our islands. 97 years ago, our founders said that what is good for business is good for Guam. this still rings true today. Our chamber mission is very simple: to seek to develop, enable, promote, and protect the interests of all Guam businesses. Our board members and our active committees do this. To do is ma'asi to our member volunteers who give their time, resources, and commitment to the mission of the chamber, which in turn support you, our private sector, and the free enterprise system that keeps the economic engine running. I would like to thank our board directors and would like to especially recognize board members whose terms expire and are not seeking re-election this year. They are Bobby Shringy, Moylan's Insurance, who has been on the board since 2014, and Marie Guerrero, Three Squares Guam, and Teresa, who has been on the board since 2019. You both have been an invaluable part of our team, and we look forward to continuing our partnership with you, even as you take time off from your service on the Chamber Board. I would also like to send a warm thank you to our loyal and dedicated staff at the Guam Chamber. Jackie, Rebecca, and Irish, they are your true advocates and serve you with tremendous respect, heart, and poise. In reference to our chamber finances, our October financial statement shows that we had a total cash balance of $368,000 at the end of the month. Our accounts receivable were at $123,000. Our total assets are at $1 million, and our total income to date was $504,000. We are up by almost 8% over last year. Your chamber's financial condition is sound, with thanks to you. We are so grateful that you have continued to make good on your dues investment, even when the struggle to stay afloat persists in this current economic environment. We are humbled by your loyalty and support of your Guam Chamber of Commerce. We would not be here if it wasn't for members like you who believe in the mission of our chamber. This is my 25th year here at the chamber, and now more than ever, the time to rally together for the greater good is stronger than it has ever been. I thank all the candidates that have thrown in their hat to run for the board as 7 seats become available in 2022. We encourage your ingenuity and vitality to continue past today's elections results. I would like to invite our members at large watching virtually today and later in the recording to join us as we work to revitalize our economy. We need as many hands, minds, and resources as possible to move forward. We would definitely love to have you alongside us as we press ahead and move onward together. And on this note, I thank you for your time and attention, and now turn the camera back to our chairwoman, Christine Meletu, for her end of the year address. Sizuas Masi.
Buenas and Hafa members and guests. Thank you for taking the time to attend the Guam Chamber of Commerce virtual November 2021 General Membership and Annual Election Meeting. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the 2021 Board of Directors for their vote of confidence to serve once again as your chairwoman this past year. It was not easier, nor was it less stressful, as the pandemic continued to plague our community, but I have been honored and humbled to work with such a fine group of individuals to fight for our private sector businesses and employees. I thank them for their trust as well as their support. I would also like to acknowledge and thank our Chamber President, Catherine, and her staff, Jackie, Rebecca, and Irish. These ladies are the backbone of the Chamber of Commerce and work tirelessly day in and day out to make sure the Chamber supports its membership and the private sector. I cannot speak enough about the outstanding and sometimes Herculean work that these ladies do for our Chamber. I would also like to express my appreciation to all of you, our membership, for providing me the opportunity to be part of the board and to serve as your chairwoman.
I have been encouraged by the many members I've met up with who appreciates that the Chamber has been a source of information, resources, support, and advocacy. I have also been humbled in hearing from so many private sector employees who have thanked the Chamber for fighting for their livelihood and their jobs. As we began this year, we had hoped that the worst was over. Many of us were optimistic that we were on the road to recovery. Positive test results were declining, hospitalizations were low, and vaccinations were being administered. And then the Delta variant emerged, which caused a resurgence of the crisis. Each day that we had double-digit positive numbers, many of us had the feelings of frustration mingled with horror. And once again, our private sector was in peril. More businesses closed and more employees lost their jobs. The Guam Chamber of Commerce has always recognized that the health and safety of our people are paramount. However, we fought for the recognition that we must not forget the financial and social well-being of individuals and families in the process. We focused on promoting our message, which is that through the support of our businesses, we support job creation for residents who have suffered hardships because of the pandemic. Thousands of our people are still unemployed, and with PUA benefits ending, they and their families are at risk. We must provide jobs for our people, and the only way to do this is to have a healthy and thriving business community. Throughout the pandemic, your Chamber of Commerce addressed this and the needs of our membership. We have been staunch advocates with the administration and legislature, fighting for legislation, funding, and a balance between the health crisis and the business community's needs. This past year, we successfully lobbied for the delay in the implementation of the ban on plastic and paper bags, for the delay in the minimum wage increase. We lobbied for the passage of the Business Assistance Act, which waived business license fees for 1 year, and for the permanent increase in the threshold to provide lower GRT payments for our small businesses. We also strongly advocated for the reduction of GRT back to 4%, which resulted in 3 bills being introduced this year. Although there was strong opposition to these measures, we never stopped fighting for it, and we will not stop until our Chamber membership decides it is not a priority. We conducted a survey in February of this year, and the membership unequivocally made it known that the rollback of GRT was the #1 measure that would help them survive, recover, and reestablish employment in their business. Thank you to all the members who completed this survey. Your Chamber leadership is appreciative of the guidance on pushing legislative initiatives that are important to you and your business. I would like to acknowledge my mentor, Joe Arnett, our former chairman, for his words of wisdom. It does not matter how many times we are told no and by whom. We must continue to try because that is what our membership needs. Your Guam Chamber has done this. In addition to advocacy, we have worked hard to be a resource for our members and the business community at large. We provided educational webinars, trainings, and support to members so they were informed of the changing health and safety requirements, the availability of government funding and how to access it, as well as vaccination requirements. We also created stronger alliances with regional and local business organizations. We are active partners with the AmChams of Asia Pacific, which is an umbrella organization of 27 American Chambers of Commerce that promotes trade and investment between the Asia Pacific region and the United States. The Guam Chamber participated in the Business Summit held earlier this year, and the AmChams Back to Business, an update on travel for Asia Pacific, where Guam had its own virtual breakout room. I would like to acknowledge and thank the Guam Visitors Bureau, who did a fantastic job promoting Guam and educating participants on the requirements to visit our island. Locally, we forged stronger partnerships with the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association, the Guam Contractors Association, Guam Women's Chamber, Guam Association of Realtors, the Chinese Chamber, and the Korean Chamber. We partnered with these organizations for different events, including an economic forum held at the Hyatt Regency, a webinar on government incentive programs for businesses, an SBA Restaurant Revitalization Fund webinar, a forum on Safe Haven, which featured Captain Grimes, a tax planning webinar for small businesses, and a COVID-19 vaccine virtual town hall meeting. We also partnered with local organizations to promote workforce development. The Guam Chamber worked with the Guam Association for Career and Technical Education, ACTE, on a work readiness and employment project. The program was designed to provide insight and information to teachers in Guam's public high schools on what businesses in different industries need for them to teach students to prepare them for the workforce. This was a 4-month project that received high survey satisfaction results from those who participated. I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Sam Mabini and Mr. Bert Johnson for their assistance. Throughout this year, we also participated in the Governor's Recovery Advisory Team, Business Advisory Team, Physicians Advisory Group, and GITA stakeholder meetings to advocate for the reopening of businesses based on a balanced approach of protecting our community from the spread of the virus with protecting our economy and people's livelihoods. We advocated for federal funding to support businesses. We provided feedback and suggestions on how to make funding accessible with the least amount of hardships for our businesses. In the past year, we have helped to get over $75 million in grants to our business community. The Guam Chamber has been active in public relations in the community. We have participated in many media interviews and have a monthly column in the Pacific Daily News. One of the areas we have tried to help the public understand is the need to support all business activity. Without a doubt, our small businesses are a critical part of economic activity on island. They represent 70 to 85% of the total number of businesses. However, we must not forget that our medium to large businesses are critical to bringing back employees and creating jobs. Medium to large businesses have the capacity to employ more people. Aside from dealing with the pandemic-related issues this year, the Chamber and its committees did their best to continue their work. I would like to thank our standing committees and ad hoc committees for their efforts, despite the challenges of meeting and carrying out activities throughout the year. All the people who serve on these committees and the volunteer members would be too numerous to name, but know that your contribution is appreciated. I would like to acknowledge some of our key committees and their officers. First is the Armed Forces Committee with their chair, Phil Santos, and vice chair, Mark Sablan, who never missed a beat this year. With the loss of the tourism industry, the military has been the main economic driver for our island. The committee maintained continued dialogue with local military officials on ways to have local businesses provide goods and services to military personnel and their dependents confined to base. The Safe Haven initiative has been one of the success stories of their effort, which coincidentally, Phil is also the working group leader under the Economic Diversification Group. They have also worked to ensure visiting ships would grant liberty leave to their personnel so that they were able to go into our hotels, restaurants, shops, etc., and support local businesses. The effort to address economic diversification began as a think tank committee under the Chamber. It has since evolved to the Guam Economic Diversification Working Group, which is a partnership between the Guam Chamber of Commerce and the government of Guam. The group has been hard at work since its establishment under the leadership of Siska Hutapea, Frank Capello, and Joe Cruz. On this slide, you will see each of the initiatives at the Chamber as well as government member who leads the initiative working group. This is a true private-public partnership that is focused on pushing for these industries to come to fruition. I would like to thank the Governor for her support in both tasking key government leaders to participate in these initiatives as well as providing funding to support it. There has been some great wins for some of these initiatives, and we are proud of the work the group is doing. The golf tournament fundraiser, chaired by Frank Capello, was another successful event for the Chamber. The tournament raised critical funds needed so that the Chamber may continue providing services to its members. Many thanks to Frank, who has proven once again that he reigns supreme at organizing one of the best golf tournaments on island. Last, but certainly not least, is our Strategic Planning Committee, spearheaded by our Vice Chairman, Ed Antolin. Ed has brought new life and vigor to evaluating the Chamber's goals and objectives in meeting its mission. His committee has led to the focus of 4 key pillars for the Chamber. Sustainable Chamber, to increase resources for the Chamber and address member needs so they may succeed. Economic Development, to be active participants in shaping Guam's macroeconomic agenda and to create a business environment that facilitates job creation and develops a competent workforce. Healthy Business Environment, to be proactive in advocating for desired outcomes on critical business issues. And Community Development, to be advocates for a better quality of life and preserve Guam's culture through the creation of partnerships that develop our workforce, as well as enhance professional development throughout the local community. In the course of these past 11 months, there has been a great deal of meetings, trainings, webinars, development activities, emails, legislative testimonies, and interviews with the media, not to mention the personal calls or texts to senators, the governor, and members of her administration. I would not have been able to meet this challenge without the support of our CEO at Docomo Pacific, Rod Boss, as well as the Docomo team. Thank you, Rod and Docomo. I appreciate the flexibility and support afforded to me to balance what needed to get done on behalf of the Chamber and my work responsibilities. This year, the Guam Chamber of Commerce celebrated its 97th anniversary. The significance of the Chamber's existence has become more apparent in these last 2 years that we have spent fighting for the survival of our businesses and the employment of our people. Every single board member and the staff of the Chamber has fought hard in one way or another to fulfill our mission of developing, enabling, promoting, and protecting the interests of all Guam businesses. I am proud of the work that we have done and that the Chamber continues to fulfill this mission. Later in the meeting, we will hear the announcement of the 7 winners who will serve with the 13 holdovers to comprise your 2022 Guam Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. I look forward to working with them as we preserve the tradition and values of the Chamber. Good luck to all our nominees, and thank you for your interest in serving on the Chamber Board. In closing, I want to thank all of you for your support of the Chamber during these difficult times. We are blessed to have our members and the many great minds, talents, and energy all focused on the desire to help foster commerce activity and strengthen our economy so that we may improve the livelihoods for all of our people. Thank you, God bless you, and since this is our last general membership meeting of the year, happy holidays to you and your families. Sito Smasi.
Thank you very much, Chairwoman Christine. And now we'd like to introduce Christopher Duenas, our nominating committee chairman. Chris?
Thank you, Kat, and Hafa Day members. Before we move on to the election results, I just wanted to acknowledge and inform the membership that this year, the Chamber membership set a record with the highest voter turnout in the history of the Chamber. So thank you all for being a part of the process and supporting your Guam Chamber of Commerce. So now on to the information that everyone's been waiting for. We do have the final results of the election, and I will read these names from the highest votes to the 7th name. So as a reminder, 5 of the top 5 vote getters are going to serve 3-year terms. And then the last 2 are going to be alternate directors, non-voting 1-year terms. So in the first slot, we have incumbent Ed Antolin. He's the Executive VP, Guam and CNMI Region Manager for First Hawaiian Bank. In the second slot, we have Mr. Tae Oh, President, Vantage Advertising, PSI Holdings, LLC, and the Lupeng Apartments Corporation, IB Educational Services. In the third slot, we have Mr. Milton Morinaga, Senior Advisor, PHR Can Micronesia, Inc. In the fourth slot, we have Vice President and General Manager for Guam Fast Foods, Inc., DBA KFC Sabaros, Mr. Frank Cruz. And in the 5th slot, we have Mr. Will Kalori, CFO for Cabot Marine Corporation and subsidiaries. For the 2 alternate director slots with 1-year terms, we have in the 6th slot, Mr. Dave Silva, Vice President and GM, Assurance Brokers, Inc., DBA AB Risk Solutions, formerly Aon Insurance. And in the 7th slot, we have Ms. Maureen Maritita, Publisher, Glimpses of Guam. So congratulations to all the candidates that said yes to their nominations this year. Thank you very much for your support of the Chamber. Again, the top 7 candidates will serve alongside the 13 member holdovers from in the 2022 board. And before I hand the floor back to Chairwoman Christine, I also wanted to thank the rest of our nominating committee. We have Ms. Jessica Barrett, Mika Caldwell, Candy Okuhama, Kim Anderson-Young, and Chairwoman Christine Bledsoe. So now I'll turn the agenda back to Chairwoman Bledsoe.
Thank you, Chris, and congratulations to everyone who has secured a spot on the board. And a thank you as well to all who have run. We had a fantastic slate of candidates. It was neck and neck, and as Chris mentioned, this was the highest voting record that the Chamber has had for the board. So we really appreciate the membership being engaged and casting their vote, and for of course for everyone that's run and who's gotten a spot. So I'm getting tongue-tied. I guess it's getting close to lunchtime, so I would like to officially adjourn this meeting. Thank you to everyone who joined, and have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.